Let's just say Sam's twin shows up to the next show. They're competing for, class, to win the class. And Sam's twin is posing exactly like Ice in terms of like making sure his legs are out, shoulders are down, chest stays up, he's posing big, etc. And Sam poses the way he did, Sam will not win. What is up? It's your boy Johnny Shreve, IFBB Pro Master Tell Like It Is. Sam Selleck has just won overall at his first show competing. And he has time to get better in the next 2 weeks at the Arnold Classic. Now I'm gonna break down his physique, plus I'm actually gonna break down each one of his poses and show you exactly what he could do better in the next 2 weeks to bring out his lines even more and show himself in the best light. So let's get into it. Okay, so number one, guys, looked absolutely phenomenal. If you guys have ever seen the video of him showing his legs, he is absolutely bone dry peeled. Striations all through up his vastus lateralis. His quad sweep diced completely. Call those piano keys. You guys probably saw it, and I saw a lot of comments when you saw the video when it was posted online. He missed the mark. Something happened. And really, to be honest, what really happened was his posing. The way he was posing actually played against him in terms of showing his deep striations and cuts because of the way he's posing. Now, for people who don't really understand this, they think that, he might have been off, he might have, spilled over. And I was watching what he was posing. I'm like, he's just not posing this properly. Because he's so good and because he's just dominant, of course he's gonna win this show. But when it comes to the next show, there will be guys that will be as equally as good as Sam Selleck, probably. Let's just say if there is, regardless, if one person can bring up their lines a lot better than the other, and they're very comparable, the guy who can create the better illusion will win the show. So let's just break down a couple of these poses right now. We're gonna get into his routine after. We just wanna get on stage and see him posing next to people. A couple of things, again, he's doing incorrectly right now. You wanna get into in your pose immediately. Okay, so his front double bicep. All right, we're gonna crack that a little bit there. His hands can come a little closer. You can see his legs slightly, I can tell the way he's actually posing his legs. His legs are almost a little too straight when he's doing his posing, and he's really trying to really flex his legs more than he is trying to position them properly, then flex around him. I showed you guys a little of that earlier. Now, when he's waiting for his pose, in between each pose, when you're waiting in between each pose, you wanna sit in your front relaxed position. When you're sitting in your front relaxed position, you're showing the judges still your physique in the best light, your X frame, your V taper, all those things. So you wanna be in a front relaxed pose. I'm gonna go through that in a second. Him going into his next pose, he's getting to his side chest. He's doing what he normally does. So the thing is, if you look at the guy to the right, not as good as physique at all, but you can see how much more he's a little more upright and he's bringing his chest out even more. So he can really work on that pose on his side chest, right? Put his foot back, very ripped, opened up. Now, again, you can see, very good back. I'm picking at him because he's gonna be really good and he's gonna be competitive. And if he wants to be more competitive, he has to nail these poses down even more. His front, now again, losing his legs in the front, relax, put in his front, he's losing his legs in the thigh abdominal. And that's simply because people really don't know how to activate their core or do a vacuum without that affecting their, legs. Again, we want to get into that front relaxed pose. You can tell that he's doing this stuff on his own. Back double bicep again. We can definitely fix this again as well too. And then he has his pose, right? And that's a really hard pose to do. A lot of guys get that pose wrong. He's doing a fairly good job at doing good for him. He's obviously gonna pull that one out at the Arnold Classics. A couple of things I'm gonna correct right away, and I correct this with a lot of the people that I work with. Number one, when it comes to your trunks, and people might be like, man, really? Yes, it makes a difference. I want you to see the difference of my physique. Guys, I don't have the smallest waist, right? And I'll show you the illusion that happens, right? If I go like this, and some people think this is gonna make it look better. Look at my sex lines. They look nice. They don't. They make you look boxy. So if I just went and did a pose, or I did a pose like him where he's doing his classic pose here, when he's like this, and he's trying to suck in and he's doing this, you see how weird my waist looks? It looks awkward. You want to, and that's the reason why the trunks are made the way they are, is to pull this up into your waist and to create that V taper or that V taper here to help with your lines. It looks better this way than it does this way. And especially if you're hitting the back, look how weird it looks from the back. It looks really awkward when it's sitting like this in the back than if I was like this, right? The suits are cut in a way to make the illusion. That's why they're all suits, bikini suits, men's posing trunks, the class physique trunks, they're all made so they fit up like this and kind of come down like this and gives that shape. Now, regardless of that, we want to go over his routine. Now, I'll show you what he's doing wrong with his routine for the most part. He looks phenomenal. If you guys seen the high definition video, it looks great. Now, a couple things he's not doing right. Number one, we're just going to go over some of his quarter turns. Number one, when you're doing quarter turns, when you're waiting for the judge, you're waiting for your judge again, we want these lines to come out. The lines come out by you anterior or posterior pelvic tilting or anterior pelvic tilting, regardless. When you're pushing your hips down like this slightly. If you watch my legs, if I do this, I can hear I'm flexing my legs here. If I go like this, they're gone. I cannot activate here. I cannot get these lines to come out with my hips doing this. As soon as I push my hips back slightly, it just comes right out. They're right out easy, right? So it's being able to maintain this look in all of your poses, number one. So from here, when you're in your front relax, you're here and you're waiting for the judges, right? You're bringing yourself nice and tall, keeping the air up here. And for the last person that made a comment about breathing, I said diaphragm, but basically what I'm saying is you're shallow breathing. You're just feeling your thoracic breathing. You're putting all the air into here, right? And then you're breathing from here and not just having this happening, right? So we want to be here and opening up and sitting. Shoulders are depressed. They're not like this. They're here. Arms aren't out like this, like riding a bike. They're simply here and you're waiting for the judges to call a pose. So while he's waiting for front double bicep, then he can get into his front double bicep. Now, when he does his quarter turn, he's got a little issue with that is when you do your quarter turn, you're sitting to the side here. Your front foot here is going to go slightly in front of your back foot. You're going to squeeze your glutes because you're using your legs as an anchor to keep your hips square or basically straight to the wall. And then from here, your lats are engaged again and you're turning. And you're turning with your torso, not with your arm. So you're from here and you're turning with your torso, and then you should probably feel your left glute really firing off so you can keep your hips straight, square, because what happens is most guys don't have the flexibility there and then they end up opening up like this, and then they get bigger because again, you see my waist, it's bigger here, it's smaller here. So from here, we open up, right? And then we're here. And then breathing the air out, tightening this and staying in this position. Facing the back, squeezing your glutes, right? Your hamstrings are on, and then you're just opening up and keeping your lats engaged and sitting here and waiting for the judge to call. Then your quarter turn again from here, and then, right? He was doing his quarter turn and kind of looking like this, which tells me right away, he just doesn't know, which is fine. I hope someone reaches out to him. Hopefully he sees this video maybe. Hire me for posing. Joey Belts is a great posing coach as well too. He's in Vegas, so surprised you didn't even see them. I'm gonna go through his routine exactly. So first he comes in, he's doing the hop thing. Very amateur thing to do. It might help with rhythm, it's fine, but you want to step into your poses. You don't want to hop. He's kind of, hopping to his pose. And then from here, he's doing his vacuum, right? And because he's doing his vacuum, you see from the side actually when he's doing it, he's doing this. And he has to, for him to really do his vacuum good, he has to push his hips up to do it. And what that does is, again, you lose the lines, right? So when you're doing these poses, when you're doing your front double bicep, whether you're on this side, or you're just straight like this, your hips have to stay in this little bit of a tilt here to bring out that part of this part of your legs. Your hip flex, you want to call it, right? We want to bring these lines out to be here. So he has to keep his hips like this the entire time. So if he does a pose where he's like this and his hips are this way, his legs are maybe this way, or his legs maybe this way, or he's doing an ab and thigh, right? We still keep and maintain this, right? So first his routine, he goes from here and his hips are here. We want his hips, again, to sit back. He's on one leg like this, and from here, opening up, and then here, right? And you can see the way he's doing it from the angle that I have. He's here and he's doing his best. He's like this, and he's pulling his arms in while he's doing a vacuum. So he's, right? And this might look okay, but it's not. because there's gonna be a guy out there that's gonna do the right pose and it will make him look smaller. What he's doing is he's caving his chest in, his shoulders are up like this, right? And this is a critique just to help him out, to teach him how to do his pose right. That's why I say when you guys pose, when you're doing your, if you guys can pose for your bodybuilders, that this translates to training so much. Because when you're doing your front double bicep, my shoulders are down, right? They're not here at all, right? My traps aren't involved in any of these poses. The only time my traps are involved in any poses, and traps are gonna elevate, my upper traps are gonna elevate my shoulders, it's only when I'm doing a most muscular from doing that. But if I'm not doing that pose at all, every one of my poses, my shoulders stay depressed. And what happens when the shoulders stay depressed? My lats stay big the entire time. They stay open, right? So I don't wanna be here. I don't wanna be up like this. I wanna be here. If I elevate my shoulders, I'll start losing my lats. So from here, when he gets to his pose, what he needs to do is get to his pose, get his legs first, here, right? And then if he's gonna vacuum, or if he's gonna sit there and just not vacuum, and here, right? That way his legs are open. Now, the first minute, your individual routine is for you to take advantage of you and the judges, your first impression. So as soon as you come out, it's just you and the judges, you bring out your best poses and you showcase it to them, right? So he goes from here, right? And again, if we need to be, legs need to be back, and here, and then he kind of hops and then brings himself in like this, right? And then again, he does a pretty good job keeping his hamstrings nice and engaged from here. He can close the leg a little bit more because I can see in the video here that he's not doing it as well. And that will make a difference. Now, what is happening here is he's here, and then he's doing this, and he's almost sitting back like this, right? This, any type of movement where you're not in a position to stay tall. If I'm bending backwards, I just got smaller. If you think about me being here, I'm taller, I'm bigger. Here, I just got shorter. So he needs to be here, open himself up, right? And then pull his chest up here and not be like this. That's what he's getting wrong in this pose. And that's what he needs to change, because if he does that, he's gonna be a lot bigger. He's a big dude and he's making himself look smaller. His next pose after this, twisted front double bicep. So he's here and he should be, again, he's doing this and he should be here, right? Getting your feet ready. So if I'm already here and I'm doing my front double bicep, right? From here, then I'm here, and then an easy sit inside here, plant the feet first, get yourself ready, scoop that chest, and come up nice and tall, right? And then blow the air out and get myself up, right? I don't want to deflate. I want to be an angle. Now from here, he does a good job from here, and he goes right into his twisted front double bicep. This is a hard pose to do. For you guys who want to know how to do this properly, don't try and over twist, right? If I'll do this from the front, it's actually an illusion of an angle, because you're not twisting this hard here. You're actually planting your hand here and you're here, right? You're doing this. And this allows you to really open this up to create the illusion as if you are almost twisted over. So when I do this pose from here, right? You want it, again, from here, not too wide. Some guys they overstride in a sense, their stance is too wide. We want that stance, if you're here and you're doing your front double bicep and your side chest, and we just turn over right here. We don't want it to be any wider than this, right? That allows us to keep the angles consistent from the ground up, right? And then here, and then opening up here. And we want to put our hands right here, almost in front of our leg, from here to here, right? And doing your best to not do this, right? So let me get you guys to almost do this and here, right? Now, this is a hard pose that guys don't do that well. The classic pose, he's here, right? Boom. Now we're turning this way. From here, you want to get yourself here to be able to do this. Just open up, right? He's got a hard time here, so he's planning, and he's not setting his feet first and then doing his pose. He just set his feet first from ground up, right? So when he goes from here and he's going into his pose, he can get himself gathered, get those legs back, the hips back so our legs are on. And then from here, so we're not trying to duck over and do this, work on your flexibility and mobility. So you can go from here and it's an easy here, right? That's how we want to make this pose. Now he's doing with the vacuum. Because he's doing a vacuum and he's not comfortable yet, when he does his vacuum, he has to push his hips up. So he's here, he's almost like this actually, he's putting the wrong foot out to be honest. He's here and then he's sucking in from here. He's using that to do his vacuum. Then he ends up being like this. You don't have to vacuum for that pose at all. That's a really good pose that you can showcase your core. Here's what I mean by that. And again, when it comes to those angles, it's here to here. And then this, the side you're kind of leaning onto or shifting onto, that's the side where the bicep is, right? If you're doing a arrow or even this or victory pose, it's gonna be this side. It looks weird if I went like this. It looks very different, right? You can see how awkward it looks from here to here. So from here, he needs to set his hips back, get them back so these lines stay in. Then from here, he can come up, right? And you can see already I'm tight from here. And it's one movement, full movement from here, and we stop here, right? And then we can, right? We can flex the lats, flex the abs from here, bring the bicep, bring the arm out from here, and then we're looking up, right? To make it more classic. A lot of the issues that he's having with his posing is just, everyone's like, he's got to fix his legs, something's wrong with his legs. There's nothing wrong with his legs. The only thing wrong with his legs is how he's posing them. This whole video could be me just being like, Sam, I want you to learn how to take your bucket, you're here, and I say this to everybody, pretend your hip's a bucket, we're gonna dump the bucket out. Dump the bucket out, and those hips are gonna naturally come back. So as long as I'm in this position, I flex my legs, these stay on. And I'm not flexing hard either. Right, I'm just doing this. I'm pushing my hips back, right, slightly, and then they go on, right? If I put my hips forward, what happens? I start losing it. So I can't do this. In any circumstance, I cannot do this. A good rule of thumb is, when I'm facing the front, I'm dumping the bucket out. When I'm facing the back, pulling the bucket up. Squeeze my glutes. I want that, because what happens is when my glutes are squeezed, it basically almost elongates my erectors from here. It pulls it down. So when I do this, you can see how far down my lats are. If I do this, it kind of squeezes it. And it looks freaking awkward like that. It looks really weird. So we want to be here, and that's going to basically help bring out those back erectors when I'm doing my transitions. Now, again, you can see his trunks. Funny to say this, guys, you'd be like, what is all this stuff he's saying? Bikini bite your trunks. What's that mean? Girls have this kind of glue, fabric glue, that you basically put on your trunks or your fabric, and it sticks it to your skin so it doesn't start sliding down as you go, right? So if you're sweating, whatever, doesn't matter, they stay up. So anybody who's a bodybuilder, any class, make sure that you bikini bite or glue your trunks to where they need to be on your hip so we continue to create this illusion. Okay, now his back double bicep. A couple things he's doing a little wrong here. His back, what happens is he's coming to the back here. He might be comfortable with this side here, but you can see what I was talking about to you guys the other day is he's opening his hips up. His hips are a little open this way and his legs like this. So that means one hip is probably a little bit too further up, and he can push his hip back a bit and then push his leg back a bit and push hips forward and squeeze the glutes so he's more, he's more linear here. So I can see from the front that he's doing this, right? And a lot of guys make a mistake of doing this, right? And we don't want to do this. Even though his back looks pretty good, look at the difference between this, guys, and this. See what happens to my back by doing this and doing this? What's more pronounced, this or this, right? And again, depressing the shoulders. And I always say to guys, when you're looking in the back, chest up, head up, right? So if I'm doing this and my head's down like this, guys, my traps start here and they affect my pose. They affect the look of my pose. If I'm here and my neck's doing this, it looks awkward, right? What happens if I do this? Here, externally rotate, push down, and then here. See how much my traps come out, then being like this, or here. And if I want to add some style to it, I'll look to one side or I'll look to the side. Regardless, we want to be here. He did a really good job on his lat spread from here, like very lean, very peeled here. I like the way he got into it, and the way he's posing this. When it comes to classic physique, guys, the lat spread is not a classic pose. So he's not getting any points from that pose at all. I know you've seen Chris Bumstead do his front lat spread. That's something Chris has been doing since he started bodybuilding and started the classic physique, because it was like almost like, hey guys, I'm still a bodybuilder. Look at this nice lat spread. That's not a classic pose at all. But what I like what he's doing is he's in this position. Again, his legs, he can get a little bit deeper into his legs, squeeze his glutes, and get a little deeper in his legs, and you actually bring out his hamstrings even more. When he pulls back in here, which is a really good way to do this, and opening up, he did a great job getting open. Now, from here, guys, bring your chest up. See the difference from this, and then this, and this, right? And all I'm doing is this, guys. I'm going from here, and just, that's the only thing, that's it. Right? So that's all he has to do from that is just pull his chest up. From front double bicep, his back double bicep and back lat spread, pull the chest up. It'll make everything look that much better and more detailed. Everything comes out more. If you look at this, if I'm here and here, here's the difference between this and this, right? Between this and this, the more detail. Right in the back. Coming to his thigh abdominal, the way he's doing this, completely off on this pose. Great from the abs, absolutely. Every beginner, when they do a thigh abdominal, they get here and they think because his abs, we gotta crunch like this to get the abs, and then we lose these lines right away. You can see when he started, he was like this at first, like this, and then he went here then to bring his legs out, and then he basically lost all of his lines. The best way to do this pose is to get in your pose here. You can do it basically like this if you want to, right from here, hands above your head, tall, right? All I'm doing from here is just, I'm just breathing the air out. I'm not flexing at all. I'm not flexing down. All I'm doing is, and you want to stay nice and tall, right? You want to stay nice and tall from here, because all I have to do now is just this. Right? And then if I want to get tighter, breathe in through the nose. And I'm getting tighter and tighter from here, right? And then if I want to vacuum, I'm already in a position to be like, and I'm already tall. So when you're doing these poses, guys, the best way to set your legs up, what I find, and to make it look good, and this is in bodybuilding and in classic, number one, depending on how your side is, I sometimes like being this side here or even this side, where I'll kind of angle myself a bit. If you have a wider waist, you can kind of angle yourself a bit. Your back leg is slightly on an angle, so I would say 2 o'clock, and you're sitting into this hip here. Then I take this other foot out here and I put it more on my tippy toe and put my hips back like this. Right away now, you can see both of my legs are on, and if I want to, flex down on my quad, I can still do it and still have those lines by doing this. If I have my feet on the ground, it's hard for me to really get it up, right? So I like to be on my toe this way here, sitting back into my hips. You can see how my legs are on right away from here. And then from here, right this, like this, and it's just blowing it out, right? And we can do both sides here, and same thing. You can see how even when I switch my legs stay activated and on the entire time. It's not that he's not flexing his legs, it's that he's not putting in my position to flex his legs for these to come out. So I'll see comments like, he's got to flex his legs. He's flexing his legs. 100% he is. He's doing this. He's trying. He's just not getting this back. It makes a difference. So again, you can do it standing like this here and just blow the air out. Or you can do one side like this, blow the air out here. If you want to, you can do one of these things in the end, or sit here, and then you can just like flex the leg down and still have those lines out the entire time. Then if you want to, you can get into your vacuum from here while maintaining your legs on the entire time. This is how Sam Selleck's routine should have looked when he came out. And that's all he has to do to really bring his physique up that much more the next show. Spend 2 weeks getting his posing right, getting his feet right, you know, posing from floor to core, making sure that his quads stay activated. Again, when it comes to activating your quads, it's not about just flexing your legs. It's about putting yourself in the right position first and then flexing around it. And that'll bring his legs out that much more. When he does his front double bicep and his back double bicep, he needs to keep his shoulders down. We don't want to be up like this. We want to be down, right? From here and bringing the chest up. And that's really about it, guys. Great physique overall. He's got a lot of work to do. When he gets to the pro ranks, he's got another 10 pounds to put on, right? So he's already, you know, in a good position anyway that he could put on more weight, put on more muscle. And when he does, he'll be pretty good. Again, if he's sticking to classic physique, he has to really work on posing. And this is a thing that even pros do not do, and you can see it. You can see the difference from pros that put effort into their posing and amateurs. You can see it easily because it flows. You're not questioning anything. You're like, this guy looks good. I completely believe that Sam Selleck in the next couple weeks nails his posing, like really gets with a good posing coach that's out that way or whatever it is. I completely believe that he can go to that next show and potentially win that show. Depends who shows up. Let's just say Sam's twin shows up to the next show. They're in the top call out. They're competing for, you know, class, to win the class. And Sam's twin is posing exactly like I said in terms of like making sure his legs are out, shoulders are down, chest stays up, he's posing big, etc. And Sam poses the way he did, Sam will not win, right? When it's close, when you're both conditioned, you both have great muscle, you know, apples and oranges at this point, and one person can bring out their body in a better light, that's who's gonna win. And trust me guys, I've been through it as an amateur, I've been through it as a pro, more so as an amateur, because I was like second place 2-3 times, third place twice. I've been in there, and it's been just by, and looking at posing and whatnot after, it's like you literally look at the difference between if you would have did this a little more, if your core was in a little tighter, if your legs were a little bit tighter here, if you're posing a little bigger there, that makes a difference because again, you're creating illusion on stage. The judges are literally at a position where you have the advantage to create this illusion. And if you pose against that illusion, you're gonna make yourself not look as good as you actually are, right? Sam Selleck looks great when he's posing, when he's in the gym and he takes his shit off after and he shows you guys his physique, phenomenal. Still, that's his same physique. His physique doesn't change. It's how he poses that on stage that's gonna make the biggest difference, getting to the next level. And then when he actually is at the next level, that's gonna be important as well too. Anyway, that's my breakdown, guys. Great job, Sam. Awesome to see. First time competing, guys. Guy has no degree, no PhD, trained himself. What'd he do? He got lean. Understand this. Everybody and anybody can get lean. The difference between the person that gets lean and the person that doesn't, work ethic, willpower, self-discipline, self-control. Anybody can get lean. And he showed up to his first show, lean. That's respectable. Anybody can have, you can have all the muscle in the world. Getting peeled, that's the hard work. I gotta say again, congratulations. And then guys, if you're trying to compete yourself, if you're already competing or you're at the beginning of your competing journey, guys, hit the link in the description below, johnandshreefitness.com, fill out that application, jump on a 50-minute video call with me. We'll go over your goals and see what we can achieve together. Anyway guys, until next time, you know how it is. Iron sharpens iron, progressive overload your life. In the meantime, keep dream chasing. Peace.